Nigerians have continued to face untold hardship arising from certain decisions and policies of government, from the unification of the foreign exchange windows and floating of the naira, which resulted to the fluctuation of naira against other currencies, which has affected the prices of goods and services, to the removal of subsidy on PMS. And while Nigerians are still grappling with the effects of these policies, the government has come up with yet another shocker: the hike in electricity tariff by 300%, that is from 70 naira to 225 naira. The National Electricity Regulatory Commission (NEC), which announced the increase on Wednesday, 3rd of April, said the decision is part of efforts to address revenue shortfalls in the power sector and promote more equitable cost sharing among different consumer segments.
Many of the customers previously classified as Band A customers will not be affected. In fact, majority of them will not be affected. Only 15%, less than 15% of the customers' population will now be affected by this rate review.
This announcement came while everyone was still in doubt as to whether the government would go ahead with the said plan in view of the loud opposition that greeted the proposal from various quarters, including the organized labor and even the National Assembly. Next says the increase can only affect those within the Band A classification. Band A consumers typically should represent higher income households or commercial entities that enjoy more hours of supply from the distribution companies, DISCOs. Even when the authorities assume that consumers in these areas belong to the top echelon of the society and therefore have the wherewithal to absorb the additional costs, there are also low-income earners as well as artisans found among these high-income households. Tinker's Corner is one of these areas that fall within Band A category. It is located between Ababa and Emene area of Enugu State. There is a 33 kV feeder located in this area. Despite this, residents still complain of poor power supply.
I cannot be able to do my work, and the light is not stable. So to increasing that the light is frustrating us and making us feel so punished somehow.
NEPA people, they're not doing us well. They're not giving us light. Still, end of the month, they will still bring bill. This bill now is 60,000 naira. Why there's no light since 1 month now?
Some Nigerians have condemned the timing of the latest tariff hike and appealed to government to rescind the decision in view of the prevailing sufferings of the people, while others have commended the decision and urged government to ensure full implementation.
Now the light is higher. How do we achieve it? And people now, if you begin to add extra costs, they will not buy from you.
You know, the harsh economy is not doing us well the way they expect it to, like break us down. So I think it's rather not a move in the right direction.
It's not that easy, even to the federal government that is increasing it. But if I were to apply, I will beg them to reduce it, because to get money now is too hard.
Personally, I don't like it. And it's affecting everybody, even including you. And if you tell them to revise, they can't revise it.
The government should take a reverse on this issue, because the situation now, people are with this difficult situation now. I think the government should wait and exercise a patience for a while.
It's not a timely decision, because we are still battling the increase in the cost of PMS, which has also affected the cost of foodstuffs and the cost of general living. So there should be a way where the government should either hold on for now or subsidize electric tariff.
So let them just compare and contrast. So if the tariff is going to favor people, we wouldn't mind, so far that the electricity will be something that will be stable. Each time there will be electricity.
The commission should ensure that all the regulatory bodies that has to do with power they brought them on board and ensure that they pursue the same purpose.
Emeka Eze is the head of communication at Enugu Electricity Distribution Company, EEDC, saddled with the task of distributing electricity to the 5 southeast states. He says constant power can be achieved with the right political will and cooperation of key players in the electricity sector.
At the point of generation, at the point of transmission and getting to distribution, if the chain is stable and there's no disruption, the customer is bound to have power. But once there's disruption in the chain, you can see that we won't get anything to give to the customers.
By targeting Band A consumers, the government is seeking to ensure that those with greater financial capacity contribute proportionally to the maintenance and expansion of the electricity infrastructure. However, for Band A consumers, the tariff increase could translate to higher monthly electricity bills, impacting their income and potentially altering consumption style. But Emeka disagrees with this.
As much as the unit costs per kilowatt hour has gone up, remember that these manufacturers or these companies before now used to depend on alternative power. They buy diesel to run their plants, which also forms part of the cost that you, the end user, is paying. But with this arrangement, that line of expense is no longer going to be in the picture. So you're not buying diesel anymore. You're not maintaining your generator anymore. You now channel. We've had cases where such customers are saying, just give me the power. They mention how much they spend or they expend on gas, to run their generators. So if they plow that back to what they now pay for power, which is more reliable, you can see that they might even have something extra, a savings extra.
There are fears that the new process might be abused by the distribution companies, DISCOs, during enforcement. But Emeka Eze says processes are in place to ensure this is avoided.
The regulator has also put in place a monitoring framework to ensure compliance and transparency. The DISCOs have been instructed to publish these feeders on their websites and also give daily record of hours of supply provided to those feeders. Okay, this is a way of getting everybody to be on top of their game.
While some consumers in this category may be better positioned to absorb the additional cost, most lower-income households who still live and do business within these areas are likely to witness untold hardship in both their daily lives and businesses.
Ọka na-eweta kịta ọdọghọ mmacha ada eweta ọkụ ọfụmacha heat na-akwadodo igbu mmadụ sef onwe ndị a na-efuju n'ọgwụ because of too much heat dị na gọọmenti tinye anya ọfụma ka na-eweta ọkụ.
Commercial entities within Band A will likely experience a direct impact on their operational costs, particularly those relying on equipment and processes powered by electricity. Sectors such as manufacturing, hospitality, and large-scale retail outlets will likely affect upward adjustments in the prices of their goods and services, thereby pushing the additional cost to the final consumers. But Emeka believes the government's decisions will be entirely different despite assumptions and expectations of the people. He says though their prayer is to deliver 100% of services, certain factors can also affect the delivery to its customers.
Of course, it is possible. And even within our space, we have delivered on that. We have feeders that are on minimum of 20 hours. But like you rightly pointed out, if there are issues or challenges within the chain, it will impact on this delivery. But part of what has been, put in place for this to thrive is to ensure that every member of the value chain is alive to their responsibility.
While it is expected the government will implement measures to mitigate the impact of the tariff increase, Dr. Sami Ajufo, a media expert, says there is need for government to live up to the expectations of the masses.
They have been touting the idea of removing subsidy on electricity. This is one of the means they want to do it. So I'm prepared for President Tinubu and whatever. But if they are going to give 20 hours of light, let it be that it's 20 hours of light. You understand? And then other people should start looking at, we should start looking at alternative sources, solar power, windmills, all those things. So it's now time for us to think creatively. But I knew that this was going to happen. I know they're going to move subsidy from a lot of other things. So this tariff, if it's going to be 20 hours of light constantly and we can hold you to it, then let's go ahead.
Though it is necessary for Nigeria to experience a holistic reform in the electricity sector to ensure sustainability in service delivery, the process must consider the well-being of Nigerian people for it to succeed. Justice Ama for Signature TV.